decision. 2 hours until it rains. Now, if you have got mental health, that's what everybody talks about. If you've got mental health, a few months ago I made something on mental health. Now, A, I can promise you haven't come across anything like it. B, it's not off the wall. C, the rest of them are going off the wall. I mean, you've got Sam Harris who's making videos, about, take some MDMA or magic mushrooms, that'll sort you. No. Anybody who's had mental health, now I'm deliberately speaking like a bit of a spaz, anybody who's suffered falling into the hole, as I did off and on for 7 or 8 years, from the age of 16, knows it's bloody serious. And you want to find an actual solution, there are solutions. But they're all mental. I mean, even Gabor Mate, who's been Gabor Mate basically only gets a voice because he's this kind of pin-up. It's actually quite revolting, and I think he does so much harm with, it's your trauma within. Now, everybody's got fucking trauma within. And there is a bit of at last there's like a little bit of a shift. You occasionally hear people say, I'm not sure if all this focus on trauma is any good. Now, that will take years, but even Gabor Mate recently did as an interview segment where he basically says ADHD doesn't exist. Now, Gabor Mate is going to lose, literally, he's going to get so much hate from that, because all of these things are connected. This absolute, it's become the currency to speak in terms of something being wrong with you, or worse, your child, when in actual fact, most of it is something else. And I'm allowed to say that. Anyway, for 17 years, or 16 and a half, I've had every risk factor going. And, okay, albeit 40 years ago, 38 years ago, was the last time I ever actually had a proper falling in the hole. And it's very important not to get sucked into using the very, very dull words that I'm afraid are part of the problem. But, I've had every risk factor going, like in spades. And I spent this morning kind of just trying a few last communications, kind of long-term, wished for fellowship. I know so many people really are fairly often falling into the hole. And so if you ever fall into that hole, if you've got personality disorder, that's a different matter. That's a little bit more kind of, even they've become a badge. 7 or 8 years ago, the notion of even doing an interview with some new media about one's personality disorder, that would be the ultimate shame. That would be like, that would really, really be like a tree falling on you. Just an idea that you'd go into public talking about that. And yet one sees, not that I don't Google these things, one occasionally just out of curiosity looks at something, and it's like, of course, the algorithm then feeds you other stuff. God, it's almost like a badge of honor. I've got a personality disorder. Do a long interview with me. And of course, we'll leave those aside. Now, if you are falling into that hole, if you get crushed, if it hurts, and you stay genuinely hurt for days on end, even weeks on end, if your dick can't work, if you can't, have an orgasm, if you're, all those things, if you're really in that hole, believe me, I made some material, that it's kind of spontaneous, but at the same time, it's all based on 20 to 30 years of pondering these things, just playing intellectually with the subjects. and then also listening to what all the so-called experts are saying, which I'm an expert at, I would give this material to the only person in the world who I fully value. Well, there are two of them. Don't think I'll ever see either of them again. You see, there you go. In fact, if I drop dead, I doubt either of them. No, one of them certainly won't. But nobody will be even at my grave. Yeah, I would give this material I've made to the only one person who, well, I suppose you'll get a phone call from the cops. Oh, we found his rotting corpse up in the hill. It looks like he's been there for 3 weeks. Nobody cared about him. Some random dog walker with bad mental health found it as they were contemplating jumping off a cliff edge. You know, yeah. I would give it to her. It's that. Nothing can be that good because it is such a great big bowl of cherries. But I know pretty much everything one hears is rubbish. I mean, it's something like 25% of the population, or is it the female population, are on Prozac, when that is absolutely categorically accepted. You know, look at even, he hasn't got bad mental health because he hasn't got he's mental. But look at IAI. There's a woman who's kind of obviously a kind of many-year part of the system, the pharmaceutical kind of industrial complex, which includes academ and the worst university. I even went to university to try and do some of this, but I knew age 32, they're all talking rubbish. Saying these specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors are just a disaster. They don't actually do what's on the tin because we don't know what's the cause. We don't know if it's serotonin, etc., 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 etc. And they do probably have some negative side effects. Anyway, end of it's for free. Nobody even pays me unless they've clearly got a mental condition.